Okay, this piece I want to make a bowl. I know if it's around the size, the width of my knuckles, it's going to make a nice bowl. But now I need to pull up. To pull up, I'm going to interlace my thumbs like this. I'm going to work here at 3 o'clock. I'm going to just squeeze the clay together a little bit, and I'm going to bring that bead of clay up. The goal is to reach your full height in 3 pulls. Before I do that, I got to make sure my clay is wet. So I make the peace sign, put one finger on each side of the wall of the clay, put the sponge here and just squeeze, and the water will run down. Then thumbs, arc your fingers. This is what touches the clay. The other fingers are just there for support. And I'm going to reach in, arms on my knees. I'm not really squeezing in, I'm bringing it up. And slowly take your fingers off the top. Okay, that's my first pull. Peace sign again, finger on each side, squeeze, water runs down, thumbs, arc my fingers, I reach down here, bring up my second pull, all right, third pull, wet the sides down. And again, this is just for height. And there's the height of my bowl. All right, now I'm going to shape it. To shape it, I'm going to use a pottery rib. So I take, wet down the sides again. I'm going to take my rib, I'm going to use it like my fingers. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to apply pressure that way and then curve it up. So I come in here. I like my bowls to have a little bit of a flare on the lip. And that's the shape of a bowl. Now, one thing you have to do is use the bottom of your rib. I'm going to put pressure down. Otherwise, when you dry it, you're going to end up with S cracks in the bottom, and you don't want that. Now, if you notice, there's lots of water down in here. This is also how you get a flat bottom. So I'm going to hold it with both hands, put my rib down on the bottom, push down, slowly move it out. Take off this clay, just drop it in the old bucket. Now, getting ready to finish it up, notice the lip. So we're going to take our lip finisher to round that off and make it look nice. And you don't really put a lot of pressure. You just let it catch. Actually, I use the other side. Hold it in 2 hands, just drape it over it, and just rounds the lip nicely. Okay, now let's take a look at the inside. I squeeze all the water out of my sponge, put my sponge in here dry, and it will pick up all the water that's on the inside. Okay, that looks like a pretty nice pot. To start to finish it, you see down here though where it's flared out? To make my life a little easier, I'm going to trim that foot a little bit. So what I do is I get my throwing stick, get the sponge full of water, put it on the throwing stick. It's going to run down off the tip. What I do is come in here, just follow, and I'm squeezing the sponge as I put the stick down in there. I'm just following the curve of the pot till I hit the bat. And I usually just let the water fill that up. Then take my potter's needle, hold it low, go in underneath. It just makes your job of cutting a foot, which we'll do tomorrow, even easier. Now to make my cleanup easier, I turn the wheel on. Just gonna take a dry sponge in here, clean off the bat. Make sure there's no water down in the bottom of my pot. Clean off my hands. Just that way we're not getting clay everywhere in the studio. Now, I've done, it turned out nice. Now, what I want to do next is I'm going to take and I lift the bat up off my wheel head. I'm going to take and we will have a cupboard, probably this one, to put our pots in so they dry. Now, it'll depend on how dry the air is. If it's a really dry winter day, then we're going to have to take and put a bag just over the top of your pot like this so that it doesn't dry too fast and crack on us. And then it's got to sit in there at least overnight before tomorrow we'll come back and cut a foot in it.